And welcome to a new episode of Digital Coffee Gaming Brew. And I'm your host, Brett Deister. And if you could please subscribe to this podcast on all your favorite podcasting apps, it really does help with the rankings. Let me know how I am doing. But this week, we're talking about apparently God is a Geek the editorial staff decided to cease all operations. And we're going to be doing it in a melancholy song because it's ridiculous. It is actually super ridiculous. We also got Dragon Age Veilguard news. We got Overwatch 2 promises because they're not doing very well against Marvel rivals. Division 2 is actually going to get a new DLC. We also got Sony news and the PSN. Good news for us. No Man's Skies update looks also pretty amazing. And then the main thing I'm going to be talking about is the RX 5090 and 5080, the reviews, my take on it and why it's all sold out and why you should never buy from Scalpers. Also, just like more of just how this is all NVIDIA's fault because they knew they had low stock, but they decided to release it anyways, and how it's just a bad idea to do that. But since they are top dog, they just don't care. Anyways, let's get on with the show. That's good. All right, so Dragon Age Veilguard news. It looks like the writing team is no longer working at BioWare since EA did announce that it did not sell very well. It was 50% below the expected sales goal. That's actually that's for those that don't understand math very well. That's actually really bad. It's actually incredibly bad. So first off, the game director of Dragon Age Veilguard left 3 months after the project because they knew the writing was on the wall. And under his leadership, I'm not calling him a her because it's a him. Under his leadership, he was basically fostering the whole let's pray to the DEI woke culture. And then that led to terrible game sales because Pull the Brava or whatever was just terrible. The lecturing to gamers about how to not misgender people was terrible. It was all in all not a great thing to do. So when that happened, everybody was like, things are not going well. And then, like I said, the EA sales call for their quarterly review for stocks said basically they were 50% below their goals. And then you had this, and it says, and then one of the people on Blue Skies, because that's where all the crazies go to now. I was a writer at BioWare for 5 years, 2011, 2016. I learned a lot during that time from exceptional folks in my disciplines, but also specifically for my fellow writers and our amazing editors on both ME. Today, not a single day of those writers and editors remain employed there. And it's I would say it's sad, but it's what you deserve. You can't keep on making these games that nobody wants to play, but you keep on telling me you're making it for the modern gaming audience, and you had no audience, or you had very few. So your modern gaming audience is the minority, not the majority. Usually when you want to actually market a product, you want to do it for the majority, not the minority. Call me crazy. Anyways, moving on to Overwatch 2. So Blizzard is promising a unique or changing to their PvP because they are feeling the pinch from Marvel rivals. Marvel rivals have been beating them out ever since it released, and it's looking really bad. And they actually released a full featured game that Blizzard couldn't do with Overwatch 2. And everybody was wondering why they released it in such a beta state, but this is what happens when you don't listen and you keep on just churning along going, hey, gamers are like, maybe we should go back to 6v6. Seems like 6v6 was better. Seems like it was better to actually balance it. Maybe you should actually add some hero bans to it. Maybe you should do this. And they're like, no, we're going to go to 5v5. We're just going to add some few things. And we actually no, we're not going to really be releasing PvE. We're just going to be releasing a prettier Overwatch 1.5. And that's what you get. I agree with a lot of people saying, just don't call it Overwatch 2 anymore. Just call it Overwatch. Who really cares? It doesn't feel like 2. It feels like 1.5. So they're promising like a new strategy for the PvP. They're not really releasing anything about it yet, because as Blizzard fashion, they'll do it on their own time. But yeah, it's just, you can tell that they're feeling it. You can tell they know that it's doing really well, and they're not doing really well. Even Path of Exile 2 is beating out Diablo 4. This is why I said in the last episode that the AA studios are what we're looking for entertainment now, because we can't rely on the AAA studios to actually do something. It's why the controversy with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is so big, because they went from Henry being a straight white male, Christian male, to maybe he might be gay or bi. And it's like, what? Why the change? It's an interesting gameplay. No, it really isn't. The majority of gamers don't even want to play it anyways. So who are you making this for? Again, if you look at from the majority, most of these things, you don't have to make it. It's interesting writing. It could be interesting writing is him still being a straight white male and him having a friend that's gay and dealing with that and the societal pressures, and that could be interesting as well. You didn't have to take you can go against what we did in the first game and just be gay if you want to. But these are the issues that keep on coming up, and it's listen to your audience. If they love your game, they will let you know. Now, maybe some of it's overblown and you have to take a grain of salt with it, but you could still look into a lot of these things and be like, look, this is interesting. We'll look into it and we'll get back to you type of thing. There are PR things you can do to massage this a lot better, but Blizzard just never did it. And then when people are like, hey, maybe we should try 6v6 in the beginning of Overwatch 2, like, nah, it's just nostalgia. This is better. And it really wasn't better. 5v5 was a train wreck. I said it in the beginning when it was coming out that this does not look good. This does not make any sense, because most of your characters are actually made for 6v6 and you're trying to inject them into a different play model. Now you're going to have to rebalance every one of them and rework every one of them. And guess what? I was mostly right. They reworked a ton of them to try to fit, and it just never fit. It's just the 5v5 model does not work with this type of hero shooter. And they just chugged along, made tanks super tanks, and just healing was out of control. And then you just changed a bunch of different characters. And I'm like, just go back to 6v6 and you don't have to change that much. And you can make more dynamic characters that way, because a lot of the tanks just became just these weird super tanks that did everything with no just downside. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense. Anyways, moving on to Division 2's next DLC will bring the series back to Brooklyn later this year. Yes, it's supposed to be launching later in 2025, and we're going back because let's not make over Division 3. Let's just keep on doing this because Ubisoft is not doing well. I might add that they actually got rid of a few developers that were they were mostly support, but they were doing Star Wars Outlaws, which did not do very well. And now they're putting all their hopes in Assassin's Creed Shadows, hoping that people will buy it. And I'm not interested, and a bunch of other people are not interested as well. I hate to break it to them, but they need to not indefinitely, but cancel it for 2 more years and redo it. It's not going to serve them well for doing what they're doing right now. Skull and Bones didn't do well for them. It's abysmally. X-Divine probably could if they just kept on doing the support, and just because Black Ops 6 is not doing well either now. But they could have just kept on going with the X-Divine. I know it wasn't up to their snuff of what they wanted, but they could have gone and kept on doing it, but they didn't. Then we have Star Wars Outlaws as well. That did not do very well. We had Prince of Persia, which is the new one, which is basically a 2.5D side scroller. Didn't sell well. I don't think Avatar sold very well either. It was okay. We had Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which probably was a good selling game, but it felt like a chore to play it because there's just so much stuff to do. And I think developers are getting this. We have to have so many things. I'm like, you could have some of these things and it'd be more compelling. But when you add so many different things, I'm not going to do it all. It's just a lot. Then we had like surprise hits like Helldivers 2. We had Soccer 2. We had all these different surprise hits that were actually very popular. And they just didn't understand. Now Assassin's Creed Shadows is trying to be like Ghost of Tsushima because Tsushima is good. And this one's, and that's not going to be good. But let's hope this is going to be good. It's going to add to another, just Division 2's just got so much stuff to it as well. But I think the live service is finally going to be dying out just because it's just unless you have AI to actually help you with the development of it, it's just not going to work. It's just too much content and people just are ravenous about it and they want to consume it all. And then you just are left for months and months with endgame content. Unless you figure out really good endgame content loop, it just doesn't work. People leave to go somewhere else. All right, so moving on to God is Geek. Apparently the person that basically is the founder of it, Calvin Robinson, from God is Geek editorial staff's claim is that he did a quote unquote Nazi salute. From his claim is he was mocking liberals and mocking them for Elon Musk. Well, weird hand gesture, I guess is the best way of saying it. It's not a salute because if you actually add the audio to it, he says, I love you all. I love you all. It's just a hand going to his heart, outpouring to them. That's what it actually is. Did he do it a little bit higher to make it look like more of a Roman salute because the Nazi salute was originally taken from the Roman salute? So a little bit of history for you. It's Nazi salute it wasn't just made up by Adolf Hitler. He just took it from history. To each his own. It's stupid, but that's why I'm going to play some sad song with it. So here is what the editorial staff from godisageek.com said. We have each of us put years of work into this site, attempting to keep entertaining despite the actions of our estranged owner. His input on the site has been zero and for several years, but we cannot continue to say nothing. To be absolutely clear, we do not support, share, or condone Calvin Robinson's politics or actions. As a result, the entire editorials team will be stepping down within me. We will create a new site and our future content will be published there, bereft of any connection to Calvin Robinson. It will be hard to start again, hard to walk away from the work we've done here on our own backs, but this is the right thing to do. God is a Geek will no longer publish work under any of our names. Whatever the future holds, we will be working together to bring content that is fair, inclusive, entertaining, as we always have. But we will be doing it under a new banner, and we hope that some of you will come with us on our new journey. Yeah, it's a bunch of stupid crap. Seriously, inclusive. Tell me you're a racist. Not telling me you're a racist. It was dumb. He was at a pro-life thing, which, well, obviously you can tell by his leanings, you know where he's at. But this is the issue. I'm going to say it has nothing to do with PC gaming. Nothing. They didn't even have to address it. It had nothing to do with them. But they had to be like, look at us. We're so good. We're so virtuous. You're not. This is stupid. This is the dumbest thing I ever seen. I saw PC Gamer. Wasn't about to talk about it, but then I read it. I was like, all right, I got to make a joke about this at least because this is the dumbest thing. Dumb. You could have just left, not said anything. and just left and be like, yo, we left on our own accord. We disagree on this and bye. But no, they had to make this like long-winded, complete elitist talk about how great they are and how terrible he is. And it's just, really, guys? Like, who cares? All right. Good news is that Sony is backing off from its controversial PSN login requirements, at least for some games. So PC gamers, us PC gamers have had issue with this because, first of all, Sony made this weird claim that you needed the PSN network to keep you safe. And I'm like, yeah, weren't you guys the ones that had one of the worst hacking in like history? Like one of the worst. It was bad. Like really bad. Like where they stole everything from you. Like you had to lock down. Like you cut off the internet from PlayStation and Sony Pictures. It was so bad. Like I was like, how could you guys mess this up so bad? But you said this saying that you were keeping us safe. And I'm like, you guys continually get hacked and it's awful. So I would not really be like saying how virtuous you are about how you're totally good with your security when it was quite the opposite. This all started with Helldivers 2. So Helldivers 2, when it first came out, they didn't really require it. It was like a you can if you want to type of thing. And then all of a sudden they decided that you needed it. The issue with the PSN for their accounts is that it's not available in all countries. So once they did that, a lot of the people that bought it in countries that weren't available for couldn't play the game. And so you had a bunch of people basically putting a mostly negative review on it because they're like, look, I can't even play this game that I bought because you required something that's not available in my country. Why would you do such a thing? And so they eventually backtracked and they were like, okay, not for this, but for Ghost Tsushima, if you want to play multiplayer, you have to have a PSN thing. So it's fine. The multiplayer is fun on Ghost Tsushima, but it's not the main thing about it. So whatever. And then they slowly started to make you require it. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, maybe not. We're not going to do this. And unfortunately, Ghost Tsushima is still required for it, so you can't get out of it. But for the upcoming games coming from PS5 to PC, like The Last of Us 2 Remastered and Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster, it's not going to require it. So you don't have to actually have it. It's a nice thing to have, but you don't actually have to require it, which is fine because why do I have to log into 3 different things just to play a game? It becomes ridiculous. So instead, if you do log into your PSN network, I have it because I have a PlayStation 5, which is probably the last console I actually get from Sony because they're just they're just porting it all over to PC. So there's no point to it. You just have a Steam Deck and you have a Switch because Nintendo's never going to do it. So if you do, the Spider-Man 2, you get early unlocked suits, the Spider-Man 2099 black suit, and the Miles Morales 2099 suit. For God of War Ragnarok, you get access to the Armor of the Black Bear set for Kratos and the first lost item chest in the realm between realms, previously only accessible in New Game Plus, and a resource bundle, 50 hack silver and 250 XP. For Last of Us 2 Remaster, you get 50 plus 50 points to activate bonus features, unlock extras, Jordan's jacket from Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet, which nobody likes, as a skin for Ellie. No one likes the preview of it, I should say. In Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, gain access to Nora Valiant outfit. So it just basically, hey, if you want to, we'll give you extras for it. If you don't, whatever, play the game, which is the best way of doing it, because then it basically, hey, maybe I want to sign up for it to get extra stuff, or maybe I just don't want to because I just don't want another account. Fair enough. But this was the better way of handling it, and this is what they should have done all along. Give extras for those that sign up, and if not, those can still play it, especially for those countries that still don't allow the PSN network. That is the way you should do it. So I'm glad that they finally figured it out, but it took them a while to figure it out. Anyways, moving on to No Man's Sky brings a ton of new content with the Worlds 2.0 update. So apparently there's new solar systems, there's new lighting, there's new water effects to it. You gotta give credit to this developer. When it first launched, nobody liked this game. I was fine with it, but nobody liked this game. They said it was a scam. There were lawsuits for this game. It was terrible. I like felt bad for those developers. They were getting like hounded, like, how dare you do this? And now, I'll bet several years later, 5 or 6 years later, here we're at. They've added like robots, they added base building, they added frigates, they added new weather effects, basically upgraded the engine a whole bunch, underwater, like you name it. You can have like pets and stuff. It's crazy amount of stuff that you could do. They added pirates, they added if you got the Normandy frigate as well. I mean, it's insane how much they added to this game, and they keep on adding. Oh yeah, I forgot that even the resource for your backpack has been, you can actually like get better organized now too. There is a lot of stuff in this game, and now it's the top seller in Steam because of what they do. Now I'm talking to EA, you could have actually made Anthem like this and your stock prices would have been actually a lot better, but you give up on games too easily because you just don't want to upset your shareholders. Look at, I know you have a fiduciary agreement to make sure that your stockholders get money, but sometimes you just got to be like, look at, we have a plan, go with our plan. Not be like, oh, we're sorry, we're in development. Like EA, you could have made actually Anthem really good, and you could have been like in No Man's Sky if you actually did that. But you keep on giving up. You do that with Battlefield 2042. You gave up, but you could have made it better. You were getting to that point, and you made that point, but then you're just like, oh, okay, we did it. Okay, we're going on. I don't think you understand what a live service game is, because you keep on saying live service, but you don't really understand what it is. But then you keep on promising that you're going to fix things, and you fix them, and then you kind of leave. If you want to do this right, and you want to make an actual live service game, it has to be multiple, it has to be like have a decade plan. You don't do that. The first thing that goes wrong, you're like, up, picking up tent, we're moving on. And you wonder why people just don't trust you. Take this example from Hello Games and do something that they do. I know they're the small studio and they can do that, but you can still do that. Just don't pull a Brava. I think that's going to be like one of those jokes from now on that they're just never going to live down. All right, so NVIDIA 5000 series cards. Reviews are out on both of them. They are a mixed bag of gaming, not so good. At least for the 5080. Not so good. 5090, top dog. Content creation side, streaming side, actually they're both really good. Overclocking, actually the 5080 is not bad. Third party, they actually might be really good. I'm so confused on what's going on that I'm like, and I have a 3090 card, and I thought about upgrading. I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to deal with the stock issues. I just don't want to deal with this anymore. It's annoying. And they released yesterday, which was Thursday. Which, by the way, it is my birthday today. So if you want to say happy birthday to me, but it was released. They kept on claiming it was low stock. Kept on saying, don't be surprised if this sold out. We basically got the same issue we had when I got the 3090. Terrible stocks, trying to get something that's somewhat close to MSRP, and the scalpers just keep buying it. The other problem is that people lined up in Microsoft. There was one in Tustin, California, which is closest to me, about 200 people outside per Reddit. And man, I didn't even try. I think I notified myself, but I was like, I'm not even going to wake up early for this. I'm not even going to try to get this. And so when I woke up, I was like, oh, let me check it. Sold out. I'm like, yep, sounds about right. It sold out in 5 minutes in the US and UK. Sounds about right. Here's my problem. NVIDIA, you knew this was going to happen and you kept on wanting to release it. I do not understand why you don't fix your mistakes. At least AMD was like, maybe we should hold back on this, see what's going on with it, and then we'll do it. We'll push back our release date. They're at least a little bit more I guess they roll with the punches a lot better than you guys do. I think if NVIDIA waited 3 extra months, they actually could have given more graphics cards to more people and sidestepped this issue with scalpers. The problem is they didn't. A lot of news reports came out saying they're not going to have stock. And this is where you're at again. It's why I was like, I'm not even going to try. There's no point to it anymore. Great, your cards are amazing, I guess. At least your 5090 is. 5080's somewhat impressive. But now you have the issue of 5080 cards to get out. And people are like, I guess to get the 4000 series. Those are now inflated. So for the consumer, if you're actually pro-consumer, you've caused the most gigantic headache known to man that could have easily been avoidable. I get it, you had all this stuff lined up, but you could always have pulled it back. Like, wait for your third parties to get more stock in, have enough stock where it mostly gets to everybody and it deters the scalpers from buying it. But no, you just chugged along like, we're just going to do it. We're just going to release it, and then the scalpers are going to buy it, and we don't care. Because we're top dog for now. It makes no sense. I like your graphic cards. I think they're great for the most part. But I'm not gonna wait in line for a week like some people did. I'm not even gonna try. Yeah, when I saw low stock, I was like, I'm not even going to try to do it on launch day because I know what's going to happen. Scalpers are going to use bots. They're going to scalp the website. They're just basically allowed to refresh a ton of times. They're going to buy it, and then I'm just not going to get anything. I knew what was exactly what was going to happen, and it did. And now the scalpers are selling it for $6K or more. I think the last time I saw it, the 5080 was like $3,000 and the 5090 was $6K or more. So they overinflate it again. This is not a good look. Like, I know you're top dog, but eventually when you're not top dog, you're going to need those customers. I mean, you don't actually do the right thing. Customers are going to be like, I'm just going to go to AMD. I'm just going to go to Intel or whoever else comes up. But I can go to either one of them. They're trying to claw at you. You're top dog. You want to be pro-consumer. The reason why Steam is #1 is because it's pro-consumer. It does its best to be pro-consumer. I guess the business is trying to make money. And just like you, your business is trying to make money. But I don't feel like this is really the best way of trying to make money. Because you're just giving the majority of it to scalpers who then overinflate your prices and you piss off your customer anyway. You're like, I wanted to buy MSRP. And by the way, please don't buy from the scalpers. It's stupid. You're enabling their bad behavior. Stop it. It's just, they knew this was a problem. I know they knew this problem for months. I know they were like, well, just do it anyways. And it's just unfathomable to me why they would do this. I just do not understand. But anyways, what do you think of the new graphics cards that came out in NVIDIA? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you for listening to Digital Coffee Gaming Brew. As always, please subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcasting apps. Leave a 5-star review. If you can, it really does help with the rankings. Let me know how I'm doing. And join me next week as I talk about what's going on in the PC gaming industry. All right, guys, stay safe. Get to loving your graphics cards that you have, even if it's not the top of the line, and loving the games that you love to have. See you next week. Later.